Hello, Trev here. I've just popped on to give an update about Court Place Gardens. A friend sent me a photograph. There's some new signage, so I'll talk about that a little bit. And just to give it an update from July 2025. So I went down just to have a look at the new signs, and they do look a little bit, yeah, not what we hoped. So private property, residents play area, guests welcome, for use by residents and their accompanying guests only. Children must be supervised, use at your own risk. So these signs are placed around the kind of the gardeny bit, next to most of the play equipment, so all of the different sort of zones that have it. And yeah, at a glance, that is very sort of off-putting for people that are wandering past. So I just wanted to think about what it means, and specifically, I believe that the main purpose of this sign is the children must be supervised, use at your own risk. So basically, at that point, what they're saying is they don't hold any liability or responsibility if there's any injuries. And I think, in a way, that's probably the most important part from their perspective of what the sign is for. A bit like if you go to Hinksey Lake, for example, it says no swimming. But lots of people swim, and the council never stop anyone swimming. But there is a no swimming, basically to stop people, claiming any liability to the council. Because sadly, there are accidents that happen, and they're washing their hands of that. So in this private land situation, basically, if you were to go to a park that's owned by the council, or owned by, I guess, university, although do university own parks, but certainly council parks, and then, a swing broke or something like that, and your child broke their leg, or for example, then you'd be in a position where you might be able to sue the owners, where what they're saying here is it's private, and it's a different arrangement with private land, and you use it all at your own risk. So I did see some people down there, a family playing with some kids, and I asked them if they were residents, just to sort of get a little kind of cross-section on who's there. And apparently they asked the manager, Megan, and Megan said it was absolutely fine for them to use it. So I thought that was a little bit odd. So if Megan is sort of vetting people whether they can play or not. And I also asked the vicar about it, so Claire, and if I just bring up her message. So yeah, the route is still open, but the play area isn't. But I can't see how they'll monitor it. So indeed, the route is still a permissive access. So the route from Iffley Church and around that area to Rivermead is still a permissive access. But the play area, yeah, as the sign says, is still private. So that's the official line. But she's going to check with someone called Phil. But I can't see how Megan is saying, so Megan's the site manager, that it's fine for people to play. Maybe, as long as you're gonna I don't know, be sensible, not cause any nuisance, then it's fine. But yeah, it's a little bit confusing, and hopefully I'll bring more clarity at a later point. But the current stance is that it's use the play equipment if you know someone, or speak to Megan, the site manager, and she's probably going to say it's fine. So apparently, Claire was saying they promised us money to help build a path, and then the lawyers told us that no one is allowed through the gates. I think it's a case of legal issues versus community cohesion. So I think they're kind of tied up a little bit in red tape, probably. But yeah. So I think my stance would probably be if you have kids, that you could certainly walk that route, and you could probably play on the play equipment. And if anyone asks, then you could just stop playing on the play equipment. But it's not a right. You don't have a permission to play as such. But it's probably more in the liability region, so they don't want to be held responsible if there's any accidents. And as long as you're fine with that, then I would say go for it and play on the equipment, is my opinion. And certainly the family that were playing there were like, well, we've got permission, Megan has said it's okay, and that's sort of roughly what it is at the moment. You've got a site manager who doesn't mind you playing on the equipment, so what does that mean? But anyway, these signs are not really what we wanted. I think we wanted a bit more clarity to sort of allow and, encourage, encourage people to use it. So, it's difficult to encourage people when you've got a big sign that says private. And yeah, the gates were open. So both the gates were open today, the gates to Rivermead and the gate kind of by Iffley Church and the kind of doorway by the church. And also on Rivermead Road, you can see that was open. I did have to check the gates. So, if you didn't know that they were open, you might not check it, but they seem to be. So all was good there. Okay, so I will bring another update soon, but I thought I'd just clarify the new signage and, yeah, give you a little July update. So, yeah, take care in the heat, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.